and find the morning at NTV live stream right there and be part of us. Rita, we have an interesting conversation.
Yes, we do. Now, stress manifests itself in many ways from adults and also for children as well. And you're wondering, children being stressed? Well, it actually happens. But how does it manifest itself in children, and how can you be able to tell? We have a dentist, and he is also a house husband. As you can see, we're joined by, yes, the first person that we're joined by is Ryla Lion, and he's really excited to be here this morning. But holding him is Dr. Robert Chironde, who is a dentist and a house husband. And next to him, we have Ronia Gold, and we also have Rochelle next to me. Welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you.
Interesting. Doctor, let's just start. I mean, you're a doctor, you are a parent who parents from home. How do you make it work?
Oh, one thing for sure, I was forced to at the home and the clinic. At the home and clinic, because this young woman was so stressed. I was forced to take her to school at 9 months. Because the maids wouldn't handle her, she had become so nasty. She wouldn't take anything. Her hair was so brown. I was so scared of taking her even to take her out of my home because she really looked miserably bad. By that time, at 9 months, she was taking only a bottle of milk.
Wow. Because now that, as you can mention, first of all, you're saying that the hair color was
brown.
That was somewhere to start from to tell that your child is stressed.
Yes, and she was a lot of underweight. She was underweight and she was crying. When we would leave home, she would crawl to our bedroom and then she would cry the whole day.
Okay, so how did you eventually find out about this?
I knew my child was stressed. I knew my child was stressed, and I was trying to find a solution. We tried to change the maids. We changed the maid. After changing the maids, we ended up finding knowing that these maids cannot help us. So I ended up taking her to school at 9 months.
Wow.
Yes, and I had to look for the best school. I had to spend a lot of money. Actually, I was spending around $900 for every time in Econ.
Really?
Yes.
At 9 months?
At 9 months. And that is where she's began to eat. So one thing, where does the stress begin? It begins with the mother getting bonded with this child. When the mother gets bonded with this child, when you're suckling, then the third person comes. The mother has to go to work. When the mother has to go to work, the kid yearns. The kid yearns. You know, one of the things that stress kids is just touch. The mother, the new person won't be able to touch this child as well as the mother.
Right.
And the mother will have a different type of touch from this person. So this child will start to yearn for the mom. And when the child is yearning for the mom, he will become nasty to that person. Yes. That is where problems come in.
So when you took actually Ronia Gold to school at 9 months, I hope this was a day school.
It was a day school.
Okay.
You said that.
It is Econ. Somehow this child started refusing coming at home.
Oh, really?
It became a problem taking Ronia back home.
So Ronia loved school more than she loved home?
By then. Now she loves home more.
More than school.
Because daddy is there now.
Yes. She loves home more. But then she used to love school more. And it will be difficult for me to get her out of school.
So what we're learning today is that you can actually identify stress in your children by the hair color.
Hair color.
You also mentioned teeth.
Now let me tell you.
Okay.
People, the stress manifests differently. For example, this guy, he wants us to talk to him. If you don't talk to him, he whines and cries. So whining and crying is a sign and symptom of stress. He's yearning for somebody to talk to him. He's yearning for his mother because his mother used to talk to him every time. So he expects every other person to talk to him. Now, for her, she was different. For her, she became a little bit aggressive, and her stress began by passing out a lot of stool. Yes, whatever she would eat, it will go out in a few minutes.
Yes, it wasn't digested.
Yes, change exchange of the bowel
Movements.
is a lot. Is a sign if your child is passing out a lot of stool. It is a sign that this child is stressed, and her stress began with passing out a lot of stool. It was
What age was that?
But it began at his age.
Like 8 months.
She began passing a lot of stool, maybe 4 to 5 months, and then she started losing weight. She's the biggest baby I've ever had, but right now she's the tiniest. You see how stress affects. So she began taking out passing out a lot of stool. Then as she grew up, she became aggressive. When she began to talk, she would say she didn't like the maid, but she wouldn't say she didn't like the maid. So she'd find there's a defense mechanism these children develop. She would say, "Mommy, I wanted a baby panty," and when the mommy wouldn't come in time, and the house girl would bring the baby panty, she would say, "No, Daddy, I want a Cinderella panty." So when we would bring the Cinderella panty, somehow, if it's not the father bringing the Cinderella panty, she would say, "No, I want the other white Cinderella panty." So she became aggressive to the house girl. Now that is where me, the mothers to be, we should be very careful, because the child is yearning for you, then the child will become nasty to the third person, the maid. When Uganda was crying over the maid that was stamping over the kid, I was on the side saying, but have they sat down and looked on her side? Yes? Because let me give you a typical example. Yesterday, yesterday, how many bottles did Ryla take? Did Mommy leave for Ryla?
3.5.
3.5. And how many had Ryla taken by the day?
1.5.
1.5. And what did your mom do? When she came?
So angry.
Yes. When the mom came in, she was saying, "My kid has taken only 1 bottle." She did not know what we went through the whole day. Because this guy, you see, he was really nasty.
The entire day.
What we're learning today is that different children will manifest their signs of stress differently.
Yes, that is why parenting is difficult. Don't think whatever happened to Rochelle is going to happen to Ryla.
Okay. But there's something you mentioned earlier, Doctor, and it did happen to Rochelle while she was a toddler.
Yes.
In the care of a maid. What exactly happened to her?
When the maid got angry, because this guy, the toddler had become nasty, so she used to beat up the kid. She used to beat her. She used to really beat my child. And unfortunately, the neighbors never ever told us whatever would happen until I decided that, enough is enough. Let me add the clinic and my home and live with my children, because my wife is a career woman who is a human resource officer in 8 countries. So she travels a lot and she's a very busy person. So I had to sacrifice some bit of it. So when we left the place is when neighbors came and told me. I almost felt like crying. They told me, "Oscar used to beat your child so badly." And then as the child is growing, I'm seeing a lot. One, you see her teeth? Look at her teeth.
Did you mean on one side?
Look at her teeth. Rochelle's teeth, on one side, they are inclined to a certain side. They're inclined to a certain side. That means she fell.
At some point.
Yes, she fell at some point, and it was a heavy fall, because it has manifested distinctly on one particular side.
And that's on her right side of her face.
Yes. And now on the left side, she has a shorter leg. One leg is shorter, and then we took her to a pediatrician. He referred us to the doctors who work on bones.
Yes.
orthopedic surgeon. Now the orthopedic surgeon sent us for X-ray, and we realized she had trauma on her bone. So at one point, the house girl should have hit her head behind here.
Yes.
Wow.
So now there is a problem with the nerve. So one leg is a little bit shorter. So we have to go in a regimen of family swimming together, walking. We walk to school. I walk her to school every morning. These days I've started walking her to school to see that we find a way. Rochelle smiles so that they can see the teeth. Yes, that one side. You see that one side? Yes. So I walk her to school so that she practices the leg a little bit more. And you know, this child, you see the signs. She'll tell you, "Daddy, lift me." Please always hear what the child is telling you.
Okay.
She began by, "Daddy, my legs are paining. Daddy, lift me." Daddy lift me, and then I would say, "You're a big girl.
Walk. They insist walk.
You know, these people manifest stress in different ways. Daddy lift me, daddy lift me, and then that is, I was confusing the effects of the beating when she was a toddler to the stress she was going through school. For example, this stress he gets is not the stress she gets.
Right.
For example, she used to go to Kampala Quality. Kampala Quality is around 4 or 5 miles away from my home, and she used to complain about headache. Headache is another very big sign or symptom of stress, because she used to wake up very early in the morning. She used to work very early, go to school very early in the morning. She became stressed. So she was always complaining about headache.
Yeah.
So when I changed the school and put her in a near school, Kampala Quality, I really loved Kampala Quality, but it was a little bit far.
Right.
So when I changed her to City Primary, now the headaches have gone themselves. So headache is a sign of what?
Of stress.
Just maybe to talk to Raila and also Rania Gold. What is it, Rania Gold? What was your experience after Daddy now started, becoming more closer to you, maybe sacrificing to take care of you? What was the change like?
A little bit better.
Okay.
And is it easier to ask for things and get things done at home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the problems is sometimes they tend to take it for granted. They tend to take it for granted. They say, because it's daddy at home, it's daddy doing this. She said, my birthday, I want this.
So how do you handle? Because one thing that people will say is that if you listen to every stress point of a child,
Yes.
you are tending to spoil them.
Yes.
If I say I don't want to go to school today, okay, rest. Then maybe I want to go to school tomorrow. Now you go. So how do you draw the line between making sure you're a strict parent
Yes.
and being present for them when it comes to listening to their body demands and what they're saying?
Well, she goes to Vienna. She goes to Vienna and I'm going. It's an international school. So when my child came and greeted me the normal way we greet, everybody was saying, "What?"
What's a normal way? Kneeling down or saying hello?
Yes, for them, as in an international school, they wouldn't expect a child. Most of the children and the teachers did not believe a girl can come and kneel.
Yes.
But I have drawn up the line. They have to. I have a boy of 16. He has learned that when I kneel, he has his way. So when yes, he has his way.
Yes.
So when he wants to pass out in school, he goes and says, "Good morning, headmaster. How are you?" Kneeling down.
Yes.
So he has learned some of these things, and the headmaster usually gives him a pass out without even thinking. Why? Because they think this guy is the most well-mannered person.
Right.
So we are strict about in my family. We don't have maids. We do the cleaning. When the workers don't do it during the holidays, we find a way. People go for leave. When they go for leave, then these children do the cleaning.
Okay. All right. Raila, At least
This is Ronia.
Ronia Gold did tell us her experience that it actually became better after Daddy, started spending more time with you. How was it for you?
It's much better, and I have time to spend with my father.
Okay,
So
and
you
you
get
love
to-
it.
So you also love the walks to school.
Yes.
Okay, those should continue.
Yes.
Doctor, as we wrap this up, what would you tell each and every parent out there who maybe has a child they haven't taken time? Because, number of times they say, is it too late? Is it too early to start? In terms of detecting this, and what changes can they make?
Yeah, now, first, I want the parents to understand. I want the parents to understand that this child, on lifting her, we're beginning with the mom. When you're lifting this child, remember this child is born to you. You're looking in the child's eye. You're breastfeeding. You're the first person in this child's life.
Yes.
So when you're going to work, know that this child is going to spend some good hours yearning for you. Please now wait from today that child will be nasty to the person you blame that person to. So when you're treating that person, please be kind. Because if you push this person, you will build up an anger. You build up an anger, and this person will torture your child. Yes, I've seen the torture marks in Rochelle. I have seen Ronia taking her to school very early, and he is feeling better. They got their teeth at 9 months. This one got almost at 10 months. He got his teeth at 5 months.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the same mother, this is the same father, but it is because somebody is there.
Interesting.
Because I was there in the beginning, and I've been there until now.
And you're still going to be there.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chirondero, but for actually coming around and sharing, because it's very important. When you hear about stress, you think it only affects an adult. And for adults, you can see it physically.
Yes.
And also for children, you can. And he says, pay attention to the bowel movements, pay attention to these little comments that they make, the cries. Remember that when you're a mother and you're born with this child, when you leave, there's also a bit of resistance to now
Refusing to
attach
eat.
to someone else. And also the way they eat, it's very, very important, and their weight as well. Well, that has been our Take Note segment this morning. Stress in children, you now know. Also joined by Ronia Gold, Rochelle Malaika, and Ryla Lion. My God, I'm wrapping my head around these names right now. We'll be returning with Reality on the Ground and the business update later on.
Governor presents Friday Night Live with the Great Afrigo Band.